Here's JB Buno.
Live outside Buckingham Palace, Queen Elizabeth II has passed away at the age of 96. The royal family putting out the announcement to the world moments ago, saying the Queen has died peacefully at Balmoral Castle this afternoon. The King and Queen consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. JB here with you live, folks, on WFLA Now, alongside Lee Spann here at WFLA. Terrible news, of course, that we are following out of the UK. As terrible as it is, too, of course, for so many people around the world, also, too, a celebration of Queen Elizabeth II's life, as we're fixated on Buckingham Palace and the flag located atop Buckingham Palace, Lee.
And now the soon-to-be-named King Charles should, according to protocol, address the nation in a televised broadcast today on the day of her death. And the Prime Minister will hold an audience with soon-to-be-named King Charles, while the Ministry of Defense will organize gun salutes and a moment of silence will be held across the country. And I say soon-to-be-named because there is a very strict day-by-day of set of events that will happen in the next 10 days from her death to her funeral. And it is on the second day when the Accession Council will name Charles as the new king, and a proclamation will be read out at St. James Palace and the Royal Exchange. So right now he is soon to be named King Charles and will be named tomorrow.
If there is something divine about this moment, it has to be related to the weather, because we were monitoring this all day long, Lee, and it was pouring outside of Buckingham Palace. It was also pouring right here. We'll hit the touchscreen and go live to Balmoral Castle. It was pouring here as well. And now all of a sudden, the skies have opened up, and the sun is shining down on both locations.
And there was a beautiful double rainbow across. I mean, if you haven't seen it on social media, you really should. Right over Buckingham Palace. About 30 minutes ago, which would coincide actually with probably about the time of her death, from considering how the call cascade, as it is called, the Prime Minister, newly named Liz Truss, just 2 days ago, was appointed by Queen Elizabeth. She would be the first person to be called, and then she would let her people directly under her know, and that call cascade would go. And they say that it would be about 10 minutes from the time that most people get an email and social media that the flag would be lowered. And so if you go back about 10 to 15 minutes, that's when that beautiful rainbow, really double rainbow right over Buckingham Palace formed. The rain stopped and the sun began to shine.
I think there's a tweet that is going to break Twitter. And I say that with as much love as I possibly can, because BBC Breaking News and other BBC outlets have put out the tweet saying that Queen Elizabeth II, the UK's monarch for the past 70 years, has died at the age of 96. And in 7 minutes is up to 115,000 likes, 83,000 retweets, and 3,000 comments, as comments are pouring in now from around the world. Sending, of course, love and prayers to the royal family, and putting out there, and I'm reading them coming in on YouTube Live, on Facebook Live. Hello to wherever you are watching from. You are welcome in our comment sections. We read your comments live. Those comments being most commonly, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth II.
She has stood so strong for so long, ascending to the throne at such a young age, just a young mom of two at that point. Her and Prince Philip, she was 25 years old in 1952 when her father passed away quite young. And she has stood through wars and through good times and bad times and economic downturns and economic thriving. And, of course, the scandals. And there has, you can say what you will about the royal family, but you cannot say that Queen Elizabeth did not devote every moment of her life to the people of Great Britain and really the people of the world, because, when things happen, major events happen, we hear from Queen Elizabeth, and we all want to hear from Queen Elizabeth, and that will be a testament that will stay for for generations to come, because she is just, this will be the second Elizabethan era, just like her predecessor.
Again, JB and Lee here with you live, folks, on WFLA Now. We keep our eyes and our attention and our hearts locked with Buckingham Palace here in the center of your screen. The crowd is only growing larger, but my goodness, how heartwarming it is to see the sun appear for the first time, at least on our live stream. We've been live over the last several hours, and we'll continue to stay here with you live. We're going to be reading your comments as well out of the Facebook Live and YouTube Live comment section. Just such an incredible outpouring of support for Queen Elizabeth II and the royal family coming out in our Facebook Live and YouTube Live comment sections. But what I'd like to do is read this BBC News alert. Of course, BBC News having direct ties to the royal family when it comes to news of this magnitude. And this alert reads as follows. This is very powerful. The Queen's death brings to an end the longest reign in the history of the United Kingdom and one of the longest reigns by any head of state. Elizabeth II became queen on the death of her father, King George VI, on the 6th of February of 1952. She held her coronation at Westminster. Oh, and now more updates are coming in, so they're refreshing on my screen. I apologize. Westminster Abbey. The following year, her reign of 70 years was 7 years longer than that of Queen Victoria, leading the monarchy from the final years of the British Empire into the age of social media. She became one of the world's most recognized and respected figures. I can't help but think about just how powerful of a moment this is in multiple respects, but this is a combination day of sadness but also celebration for Queen Elizabeth II and her life over 7 decades. We've been talking about it, Lee, over the last couple of hours on the YouTube live stream. But think about how different the world was when Queen Elizabeth ascended to the throne.
I mean, it was a huge deal at that time in 1952. I believe it was a year later, in 1953, when she was coronated. But the coronation was televised live, and that was a huge deal. It was actually a little controversial and whether it should be or not at the time. So imagine not having something live 70 years later. I mean, that is, again, she really tried to bring the British monarchy into a lot more, her and her husband both, into a lot more into modern times, again, with the coronation being held live on television. And then, in her lifetime, how the world has changed.
And now I want to, if I can, yes, let's do that. Let's go split screen on the touchscreen here and show everybody live outside of Buckingham Palace, as you've been watching here on the right side of your screen. But let's not forget the Queen and the royal family have been at Balmoral Castle on the left side of your screen. And if you joined us on the YouTube live stream a short time ago, we saw the royal convoy made up of many members, prominent members of the royal family, speeding past these gates, rushing in. And we really don't know at this time as to whether or not those members of the royal family, whether or not they were there for Queen Elizabeth's final moments, if they made it in time. I know, I'm trying to remember exactly who was there. You have the names, Lee?
Yes. So the family, because I know that Prince Charles, now soon to be named King Charles, and the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla, they were there earlier in the day. So then flew into Scotland was Andrew, Edward, and Edward's wife, and Prince William. They flew quickly to Aberdeen, which is in Scotland, the airport there, and then drove quickly. And there's a picture of Prince William is driving the car with his uncle Andrew in the front seat and his other uncle Edward and his wife in the back seat. So they were going very quickly. So I know that's, if you've ever been in that situation with your family, you do whatever you can. You drop everything. You get there as fast as you can. And that's, we don't know if they made it before she passed, but I do know that Charles and Camilla were there a little earlier in the day. So perhaps they were there before she died.
Prince William, Edward, Andrew, they all made it to Balmoral Castle. Harry, we don't know if he made it. Now, we know that Catherine and Meghan were not going to be in attendance at Balmoral Castle for, again, this moment in history, but we do know that Prince Harry was at least heading in that direction. Whether or not he made it, I think we're still awaiting on confirmed reports out of the UK as to whether or not Prince Harry did in fact make it to Balmoral Castle, but how the exact time of Queen Elizabeth's passing, whether or not it was earlier today in the announcement coming out now, approximately 6:30 local time, about 1:30 Eastern time here in the United States. We don't know who made it, whether or not Prince Harry is still heading in that direction.
And they kept an eye on. I mean, they let us know as everybody arrived. So the fact that we haven't heard, there's
the sign is going up. The proclamation letting the world know that Queen Elizabeth II, her reign spanning 7 decades, the sign going up in the front of Buckingham Palace, letting the nation and the entire world know that she has passed away at the age of 96. And we'll just take a moment here, a moment of silence on stream as we honor Queen Elizabeth II and the royal family. And there, representatives of the royal family posting that sign, a sign that will be, likely already is, all over social media, a sign that will likely very much be in tune to what the what the statement on Twitter looks like regarding the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Again, a monarch beloved with a long reign spanning 7 decades, passing away at the age of 96.
When she became queen, Winston Churchill was prime minister, and she has seen 14 since Winston Churchill, so 15 in total, including really her last public sighting was when she appointed and met the newest prime minister just this week at Balmoral, Liz Truss. So there's the picture of Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, meeting Liz and appointing Liz Truss to be prime minister will be the last time that any public sighting of Queen Elizabeth II will ever be.
And as far as now, you were talking a little bit earlier, can you repeat this for our audience? As far as what happens now going forward, there is going to be a major broadcast event taking place in the aftermath of Queen Elizabeth II's passing, correct?
So what they have a London Bridge protocol is what this is. So this is I'm sure has been updated as times have changed and things like that. But the current London Bridge protocol is that the new soon to be named King Charles will address the nation in a televised broadcast. Now, this is outside what you're looking at here, outside 10 Downing Street. So this is the Prime Minister's residence in London, where now Liz Truss has lived for 2 days. So, a lot of times these prime ministers will come out and make a statement. So I'm sure that's what's happening there. But who will be King Charles, will address the nation in a televised broadcast today. Tomorrow, he will officially be named king. And then on the second day, what they're calling day 2, Queen Elizabeth's coffin will return to Buckingham Palace, but the method of travel, of course, depended on exactly where she died. If it
Lee, I just want to show you this really quickly. Just look at how beautiful it is right now over Buckingham Palace. The chopper is just taking a moment to show everybody how the skies have opened up after a day of heavy rain outside Buckingham Palace. Just take a look at how the skies have opened up. And if that's not a moment of true symbolism, then I don't know what is. The chopper likely having to head to refuel. And now we have a picture of the sign posted outside of Buckingham Palace. I'll read it as: the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. The King and Queen Consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. And that, yes, is the same statement that was put out by the royal family on social media as shared out by the BBC. A document that will forever live on as a moment in history marking the end of one reign and the beginning of another.
We haven't had a king in 70 years. We've had a queen at the head of state there for Great Britain, and now her son, firstborn son of her and Philip, will ascend to the throne, and he has good genes. They both lived well into their 90s, so it may be quite a while before we see another one of these. But the next in line would be after Charles would be, of course, Prince William, and then Prince George, who is the firstborn of Prince William and Princess Kate. So we'll have kings for a little while from here on out after having a queen for so long.
It's just you and I in our lifetimes, we have only known Queen Elizabeth II as the head member of the royal family, the head of state.
And really, in our parents' lifetimes, I mean, she ascended to the throne. Sorry, Mom. 1 year after my mom was born, so my mom doesn't have any recollection of life before Queen Elizabeth. Yeah. So, you'd have to be into your 80s to have any real memories of life under King George. So, which was her dad, and so you have 15 prime ministers, 14 presidents. They've all come and gone, and Queen Elizabeth II has stood strong.
What we would like to do, we're going to keep a very close eye on this shot of the podium. Again, we're going to be having live coverage for you throughout the afternoon and perhaps maybe evening or wherever you are watching from. Good afternoon to you folks. JB and Lee here with you live on WFLA Now, paying attention to all the feeds that are coming into the Stream Center, including this shot of the flag atop Buckingham Palace. What we would also like to do, something that is very much at the core of what we do on WFLA Now, is we would like to take a moment to acknowledge your comments. And this is what we do interactively on WFLA Now. You see the hashtags on the yellow stripes on the left and right side of your screen. There's hashtag HeyJB. There's hashtag HeyLee. Starting now, we're going to look for your comments out of the Facebook Live and YouTube Live comment section. And if you have something that you would like to say, if there's something that you want to pass along, we've got tens of thousands of people. I'm not sure the exact count, but I know we have a large audience right now. If you want your voice to be heard, use either of these two hashtags. That signals to us that you would like your comment to be featured on screen, and we'll throw up as many as we can to let you know that your voice is being heard out there. But really, they keep going back, this feed. They keep switching back and forth between various important locations in the UK, including this one right outside Buckingham Palace. It is short, but short is not the word that you would use to describe the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. A long reign spanning 7 decades, Lee.
7 decades. And, the way the world has changed in those 7 decades, and for her to have stood there and worked with those changes. She has a Twitter account. I'm not sure how much she was putting it out there, but if she was actually tweeting, but it's been fascinating to watch, her family grow up, their families grow up, and then now the next generation babies are being born. I'm sure she delighted in knowing that she had such a beautiful family that came behind her.
Let's get to some of the comments that are coming in using hashtag HeyJB or hashtag HeyLee. Megan saying hashtag HeyJB, my thoughts and prayers to the royal family. Happy commenting hashtag HeyJB. She was a dedicated and dutiful monarch. I'm not sure I've ever heard a good thing about, these two individuals. I'm not going to read. Does anyone think it would be better for, we're going to put this comment away. I'm not sure. We're going to try to keep things positive here, folks, if we can. You can continue to use hashtag HeyJB or hashtag HeyLee. We'll try to get comments that are focused on Queen Elizabeth II. So let me just allow some more of the rules here. As we try to put up respectful comments to the royal family and give you a voice here. But yes, let's just acknowledge the previous commenter in this way. This is the line of succession, and Charles, born 1948, is next to be king, following, of course, Queen Elizabeth II, who's been queen since 1952, 4 years. 4 years after Charles was born.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So she had Charles and Anne when she thought, that her dad was going to reign for many years. I mean, you don't expect your parents to die when you're in your low 20s. So she had 2 children, and then when he passed on, she took a big break, to become queen, and she and then created and then had 2 more children much later, where that was Andrew and Edward. So she took a big break so that she could become queen and settle in that part of her life that she did not expect to happen so soon.
Let's get to this comment from Charlene. It's a question. #AJB. Was a statement put out regarding the cause of death of the queen, or was it natural causes? And yeah, this is going to be, of course, the highly talented medical personnel that is always following the queen and providing the queen with the medical care that she needs. The exact cause of death will be something that people are going to want to know as to whether or not it was death of natural causes. There has been endless speculation online as to the queen's health in recent days. She has canceled a couple of events. Mobility issues is the common go-to response for the royal family representatives who deal with the media. And the BBC has reported that more times than anybody can really count. But the exact cause of death, I'm sure, will come out in time. It has not been made clear to the BBC, to our understanding, or to the media at large. Betty, #KJB, prayers for the family. May Queen Elizabeth II rest in paradise.
And I like to keep reminding people that while she is a monarch, she's also a mom and a grandmother and a great-grandmother. And so you're right, prayers to the family, because as much as she is a part of the world's family, she really does have, the blood relatives that are sad, that have, she's raised them. I know a lot of people, a lot of her grandchildren, specifically Harry, talk about her sense of humor, and, they're an outdoorsy family. They do things together on a regular basis, just like you and your family do. And so, while we are sad for a British monarch to have passed away after such a long tenure, she is also loved by those around her.
Let's get to, you were talking, Lee, earlier about the rainbows on social media. Michelle asking, #Hey Lee, would love to see footage of those rainbows. I love to all the people of England at this time. Comments Michelle from Florida. It's all over social media. Perhaps we can do the same. We can't load them into our live stream at the moment, but we'll do our very best to share out some of the photos of the rainbows and some of the weather phenomenon that occurred over the course of our live stream on YouTube when we saw it go from rain to sunshine. And while you might think that that's a coincidence, I think that there are going to be a lot of folks who are going to look at that and see something a little bit more, something more special. Let's get to this comment from Sunshine, apropos, #KJB. The world may have all their leaders, but Queen Elizabeth had the world's respect. And there's little doubt that that Queen Elizabeth earned the world's respect. And how could you not, with just the length of the reign, again, the longest for any head of state. It's just it's unheard of, it's unprecedented, and one that it's just hard to fathom.
Now, I'm going to ask you sort of a logistical question. If it's an NBC tweet, am I allowed to just turn my phone and show the rainbow, or is that not allowed?
Unfortunately,
okay.
No. We have to have the rights for that photo.
Right.
But
okay.
You know what? If you'd like to just show it to the camera really quickly, I can't bring it up myself.
Right.
But if you want to show me a picture of your phone, a little more to there. That way.
Got it.
There it is. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more to your left. There we go. That's a little better.
So anyway, so this was
with the UK umbrella. That's really powerful.
With the UK umbrella. So, but there's plenty others. But I thought since it was NBC, we could show it. But you know what? Maybe my phone just turned itself around.
There you go.
I didn't post anything.
Making sure that we're showing what we're allowed to be showing, folks, because on social media, there's going to be so much that comes out, and just making sure that we're following the rules here on WFLA Now. Lee Spann, JB here with you live. And live in our stream center as we continue to monitor the aftermath of this massive historical news, Queen Elizabeth II passing away at the age of 96. So let's break down the expectations, Lee, if we can, for the minutes and hours ahead. We keep showing this podium shot. Has there been anything regarding a schedule as to when we're going to have this massive televised moment to all of the UK and all the world? That
I have not seen. I do. According to protocol, is that we should hear from King Charles today I don't know that there is a protocol for hearing from the prime minister, which is outside of 10 Downing Street, what we're looking at here. So I'm sure at any, that a prime minister would make a statement. It does not necessarily need to be in the protocol. It's just, now Liz Truss is the head of the government there in Great Britain and I guess just in England at this point. And so I'm sure we will hear from her. It does not necessarily have to be in the official protocol for that, but in the official protocol, we are to hear live televised broadcast from now King Charles. That's happening today. He will officially be proclaimed the king tomorrow. There's a set number of days between her death and her funeral, and that is 10 days. So during days 3 to 4, you'll see King Charles go throughout the UK, visiting the Scottish Parliament, Hillsborough Castle, St. Anne's Cathedral, and on day 5, a procession will begin, starting at Buckingham Palace and ending at the Houses of Parliament. And that's where the Queen will lie in state for 3 days as members of the public will visit to see her coffin. Then 6 to 9 days, King Charles will visit the Welsh Parliament, and the government at this point will be putting the final touches on the plans for the day of funeral. They are expecting hundreds of thousands of mourners to flock to the streets during the 9th day, and the funeral being held on the 10th day. They said employers are not obligated to give staff a day off, though it will be a day of national mourning, and a 2-minute moment of silence will be held across Britain. And the funeral will take place at Westminster Abbey, followed by a committal service at St. George Chapel, Windsor Castle, where the Queen Elizabeth will be buried at King George IV Memorial Chapel, which is, I guess, her dad's namesake there.
Again, live here. Also outside of Balmoral Castle, beyond these gates are where Queen Elizabeth II has passed away at Balmoral. And again, we don't know whether or not the royal family made it in time to be there. I'm sure that that some members of the royal family were there at her side, but whether or not others who were rushed in that royal convoy made it, it's unclear. But if we hear anything, we'll pass it along here to you live on WFLA Now. This not only establishes Charles as king, but we now have a new heir to the throne as well. And it comes in the form of the Duke of Cambridge. It comes in the form of William, who, of course, you don't need me to talk to you about who William is, who the Duke of Cambridge is, as we see some of the vehicles get through here to Balmoral Castle. But, of course, everybody moves up now in the line of succession. And Charles will be coronated as king and take over as the head of state for the royal family. And this is the next 10 days are going to be history for the United Kingdom. And, of course, all the people that are citizens of our neighbors to the east, as far as our UK neighbors. I'm just thinking about how much this is a moment in time where, of course, we're transitioning from one reign over to the next.
And I keep playing in my head. Earlier today, there was a picture of, the beautiful princess, Kate and William and their 3 children as they walked Prince George to his first day of school. Prince George, who is now one up closer to the heir to the throne, and what his first day of school must have been like today. He went from 4th to 3rd in line while he was in school. And I don't know if maybe they were able to go get him from school, but that's one of the reasons why Kate is not in Scotland, is because they are imagining that she's picking him up from school, doing the things that a mom does.
We'll continue to monitor your Facebook Live and YouTube Live comments. Please keep things kind, considerate, and respectful as we monitor your comments. If you use #KJB or #KLee, we can animate your comments on screen like this. We had Kayla up. Let me just acknowledge Kayla really quickly. #KJB, prayers to the family. I hope the family gets the privacy that they need. They are a family that has of course, their vulnerabilities as well. They're a family on the grandest stage at of course, their royalty, but they are a family, and they are, of course, deserving of the same privacy that any family should get when we're talking about the loss of a loved one. And Ange, hashtag HAB, this is such a sad day. However, we are a part of a major historical event. It is. It's the end of one reign and on to the next. And also, as some folks that were just chiming in on YouTube, saying hello to the YouTube live comment section, a lot of titles change now.
Yes.
We're talking about Duke of Cambridge going on to become the Prince of Wales.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so a lot of shuffling that goes around. This is a major reorganization of the royal family, and a lot of moving parts. And this is something that I am by no means, and I will make this very clear to our audience, I'm no expert, but I'm looking forward to being humbled by watching this all unfold over the next 10 days and watching how a royal family transitions from one generation to the other. Unless you are somebody who is what, 80
in your
or
80s,
90, 80
yeah.
in your 80s or your 90s, you can't recall the last time that there has been a major transition of power from one head of state to another within the royal family of the United Kingdom. So we're all going to be witnesses to this, and I'm looking forward to, as sad of a day as this is for Queen Elizabeth II, this is a moment in history, and we are going to be witnesses to watching this all unfold now over the next 10 days. And we'll do our very best to live stream as much of it as possible, because it will be fascinating. It will be fascinating.
Yep. As many people will say, God save the king, the queen. Now we have to say, God save the king.
God save the king. God save the king. Getting to some other Facebook Live comments. Again, you can use hashtag HeyJB or hashtag HeyLee. This is a big question that continues to come through. Who was actually there? Who was able to say their final words to the Queen before she passed at Balmoral Castle? Barbara wants to know if Harry made it before her passing. We don't even know if Harry has made it to the property. That's still something. I've been looking for updates on Harry and his travel, and we know that he was in Europe. We don't know if he made it over to Balmoral Castle in time,
because they gave us updates for everyone throughout the day. Okay, now this person has left here. They're on a flight to Scotland. So the fact that we haven't heard that
the Prime Minister
Harry
is speaking now. Let's transition over. This is Prime Minister Truss. Let's listen in.
Her life of service stretched beyond most of our living memories. In return, she was loved and admired by the people in the United Kingdom and all around the world. She has been a personal inspiration to me and to many Britons. Her devotion to duty is an example to us all. Earlier this week, at 96, she remained determined to carry out her duties, as she appointed me as her 15th Prime Minister. Throughout her life, she's visited more than 100 countries, and she has touched the lives of millions around the world. In the difficult days ahead, we will come together with our friends across the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth and the world to celebrate her extraordinary lifetime of service. It is a day of great loss, but Queen Elizabeth II leaves a great legacy. Today, the crown passes, as it has done for more than 1,000 years, to our new monarch, our new head of state, His Majesty, King Charles III. With the King's family, we mourn the loss of his mother, and as we mourn, we must come together as a people to support him, to help him bear the awesome responsibility that he now carries for us all. We offer him our loyalty and devotion, just as his mother devoted so much to so many for so long. And with the passing of the second Elizabethan age, we usher in a new era in the magnificent history of our great country, exactly as Her Majesty would have wished, by saying the words, "God save the King."
Prime Minister Liz Truss with a prepared statement ending, as we were just talking about, Lee, with for the first time in more than 7 decades, we will be saying God save the king instead of God save the queen. A touching tribute to Queen Elizabeth II. And again, another moment in history as we stay here with you live, folks, on WFLA Now.
We are here.
Yep, and we'll stay here with you for a little bit longer as we continue to make sure that you have a voice in the Facebook Live and YouTube Live comment section. There is a crowd here outside of Balmoral Castle. For those of you still just getting acclimated to what we're looking at, we were live with Buckingham Palace at the beginning of the live stream, showing you the crowd that was developing and growing larger outside of Buckingham Palace, but the Queen not there. Queen at Balmoral Castle, where she passed away earlier today. The exact time, the exact cause of her death, those will come out in time. We're not at that stage just yet. However, a lot of activity outside of Balmoral Castle, including the arrival of the royal convoy earlier that we had on YouTube Live. And now we're seeing a lot of cars, of course, come and go from the castle itself as the family is in a state of mourning. We have a King Charles III in the UK, who is now mourning the loss of his mother, but assuming, as they put it, an awesome role, an awesome amount of power as being the head of state in the UK for the royal family.
And we continue to use the weather as such an analogy for how we all feel. It rained all morning. It was pouring. Then the sun came out. It was a rainbow. And now there are more raindrops and more tears as more people are finding out the news of the death of Queen Elizabeth II.
We'll continue to, over the next, we'll stay with you live for a little bit longer on WFLA Now, on Facebook Live and YouTube Live across all of our platforms, including WFLA.com, the WFLA app. I love this comment from Florian. I think that there are a lot of people who, so here in the United States, and I can speak, of course, for the United States, I have never lived in the UK. I've never visited the UK. I hope to visit the UK one day. I know you do. You do as well, yeah. Lee. I don't know. I can't speak to what it is like today for the people of the United Kingdom, the people of England, the people of Scotland, the people who are just experiencing something that they haven't experienced really in their lifetimes, as we've been noting, unless you're considerably older. I can't speak to what it is like for them. I can speak that there are folks here in the United States that are so very much, let's just call them fans of the royal family, and who follow all the developments that happen with the royal family, whether it's William or Harry or Kate or Meghan Markle. Of course, when Meghan Markle was a major news story years ago with Harry, just there are some people who are just completely locked into everything related to the royal family. And I can't speak for, I'm not one of those people. I'm being very coy and honest with you. But some people are. And some people feel this incredible kinship with the royal family and feel this incredible sense of connection to the royal family and want to know everything that is going on within the royal family at all times. I love this comment from Florian. I'm going to put it up here on our screen. #KJB. She was like everyone's grandmother, the most respected queen in the world. Her death shocked everybody. One of the saddest days of 2022. Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth II. But this is a comment that just sums up how connected some people feel to the royal family and how connected some people feel, Lee, to Queen Elizabeth II.
I have always said that Queen Elizabeth looks just like my grandmother. They look identical. And so you're right. She is everyone's grandmother. Yeah. I don't know if it's the hair that, the way they coif their hair from, in that time, the walk. She was, I have always said, she looks like my grandmother. So you're right. She is everybody's grandmother, because good times, bad times, family quarrel times, your grandma is always right there. And that's what she was for her family. But it's also what she was for many people around the world.
Got this comment that's coming in. Thank you, Florian. That's a beautiful comment. And we have another one from Erica, #KJB. The queen is now in her heaven with him, with her forever king. #London Bridge has fallen. Yeah, we've been talking quite a bit about London Bridge as well.
As the code name for the the protocols that would happen after her death, because it would be that London Bridge has fallen.
Yeah, and this is and to Darcy and other commenters, Lee was just commenting on this a short time ago, going over Operation London Bridge. I read an article called "London Bridge," says Darcy. It explains everything that happens from her death in the next 10 days. This is going to be protocol that establishes the next reign. And so again, I was talking about how humbled I feel, and how I'm sure humbled everybody feels to be witnesses to what is going to transpire over the next 10 days, because this is something that that is generational and with the most famous family in the world.
Yes.
I mean, really is.
And, and one of the things that the Prime Minister Truss said, which you forget because you think, okay, it goes back to, the royals go back a couple of generations, but you forget it's been thousands of years that that this Windsor family has, had a line of succession that has happened. So while for us, it's been 70 years, I mean, this is part of antiquity that's been going on for so long. And of course, the world has changed a lot in those years, even in the 70 years, as we've talked about. And so certainly changed over thousands of years that this family has reigned over parts of the world.
Also, too, with the wrinkle of, the last time we were talking about this, the last time that they had to do a transition of power like this, they didn't have to worry about Twitter.
No.
They didn't have to worry about Facebook or social media.
You had to print a newspaper.
That's right. It was all in newspapers. So this is a completely new task, even for representatives of the royal family who are going to help facilitate these next 10 days, these crucial next 10 days from the transition of Queen Elizabeth II to King Charles III. And we're going to have coverage for you folks on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, as well as, hey, look, our live stream is getting put out to a lot of our Nexstar sister station websites, social media platforms, and apps. Wherever you're watching from, good afternoon to you. You can follow Lee. You can follow myself on social media. We'll post updates as we get them. There's so many questions that still remain. We do not know the cause of death for Queen Elizabeth II. It is likely related to natural causes, but if there was anything else that played a part in her final moments or the decline of her health, we will find that out. And of course, from the BBC and from the royal family, and that will get put out on our various social media platforms. Believe me, we know that this information is going to be all over the place, but we are going to be putting it out on our pages as well. And there's a link in the description on this video. If you're joining us on YouTube Live, on Facebook Live, you'll see a link in the comment section that will take you over to the corresponding Nexstar station website, where we'll have all of our coverage for you. All the storylines that are going to now unfold, Lee, over these next 10 days. This is a moment in time where there's going to be developments every hour for the next 10 days. New wrinkles that are going to emerge, new exciting developments, announcements from as we transition from one chapter of the English monarchy to another. And as those questions get answered, we'll make sure that we have coverage for you on whatever website, app, or social media platform that you're watching on. Just click on the link in the description on this video. Lee, any final thoughts before we wrap up our live stream here?
Well, at some point today, the protocol calls for now King Charles to give a televised speech. Perhaps he will give more information. Perhaps he will give a tribute to his mother, and then this will then start the 10 days that will take us through the funeral, including 3 days that she will lie in state. And they are expecting hundreds of thousands of people to turn out to London, to turn out for the procession that will take her through the streets to her lying in state position, and then through the funeral, and then of course to her final resting place. So a lot of people will want to be here. A lot of people just got to celebrate her in her Platinum Jubilee. And I have no doubt there'll be people right back out to celebrate now the end of her life.
We'll just end out here on some of the we call this file footage, archive footage that we have from the UK and of Queen Elizabeth II. And we'll let this play out for just one final moment before we conclude our live stream, just to show you a little bit of Elizabeth II. Of course, in better health and better spirits in years past. That smile is iconic. There's no doubt about it.
Those
it reminds
pearls.
me of everyone's grandma's smile, and the pearls. Yes, the dress. She exuberated grace, and it's just it's a sad day, but also a celebration, truly, of her life. As things now develop in the days ahead, we will continue to provide you with streaming coverage of all of these major historical moments with the transition from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II to King Charles III. You can click on the link in the description on this video. It will take you over to WFLA.com or one of our Nexstar sister station websites or apps where you can read the very latest and get follow-up articles about Queen Elizabeth II, King Charles III, and everything connected to the royal family. And of course, Lee and I will continue to post things on our social media platforms in relation to the passing at the age of 96 of Queen Elizabeth II. Thanks so much for joining us on WFLA Now, and additional live streams coming up in the hours and days ahead here on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, YouTube Live, Facebook Live as well.